Welcome back to the Community Collective. Travis, we're on video. Look at you. You look so handsome.
You know what? I got all dolled up just for today.
That's amazing.
Just to make sure I'm looking good, trying to be festive a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. I love the Christmas jacket. I had the Pink Night Palooza that I went to downtown Flint.
Oh,
And
yes.
so I got myself a nice pink blazer, but I don't
Oh,
have anything holiday-esque. I've got a few holiday sweaters.
yeah.
I've got my Grinch onesie over there from a different podcast I was doing. I just felt like, we got to mix it up a little
Well, the
bit.
Grinch is a little bit more your personality sometimes, right?
Sometimes I
Sometimes.
think all the time.
Oh, you smile a little bit. I guess the Grinch smiles sometimes.
The Grinch,
Yeah.
it's usually kind of an evil smile, but he does smile. So
Yes.
I'll go with that.
Yeah.
I can roll with
I
that.
like it. Now, it is a full suit. But since I'm built low to the ground, the pants are about 6 inches too long, but in the legs. So
Nothing wrong with that.
No, they don't work. So
My man's all torso. He's all
it
torso.
is. It's all torso.
That's perfect though.
It is.
You see all these holiday parties and you see the things going on, even if you're out and about and you don't have anything going on, you stop by restaurants and whatnot. Everybody's having holiday parties. So people are always dressed to the nines.
Oh,
and
they are.
And I do give them credit for that, with the simple fact that the holiday season isn't that long.
It's really not.
Truly.
You get these fun outfits. You got to take advantage of wearing them as much as possible,
Yes.
right?
Of course. Why not? Right?
Well, I will say at the chamber, you look pretty snazzy with your Yeti with the water bottle holder.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I do what I can do.
it is, right?
Well, and I think for Easter, you guys usually have me dress up as the Easter Bunny.
That's always a
Makes
classic.
perfect sense.
It
I don't know
does.
if Easter Bunny, the Grinch, that works for me. Just a random dude wearing shorts and a t-shirt the rest of the year if the weather's appealing.
Yeah, appealing, right? Yeah, it's we did the Trail of Lights, and we
Okay.
did the wagon ride the other night,
Nice.
and it wasn't too bad, but it was probably like getting a little bit below 40. We're
Right.
bumping it up a little bit. Oh man, there's a guy right next across to us wearing shorts, and I'm like, good for you, buddy. Like, I'm glad it's
Yeah.
not like freezing cold, but I think he's one of those guys that like it doesn't bother him, and
Well,
so
I
no
don't-
matter how cold it is, shorts.
I don't
And
have a lot of latitude to talk because
you.
a friend of mine, low key, snapped a picture of me when I was downtown live streaming Christmas on Main.
Oh yes,
And I was bundled up from the ankles up, but there were my feetsies.
there's your grippers.
Yeah,
showing.
my little tootsies hanging out next to the slushy sidewalk.
Ah.
It was cold though. Christmas on Main. It was a great event.
Oh, it was
in downtown. Love seeing the people down there. Love seeing the light
the
up,
lights.
the parade,
Oh yeah,
the trees. I mean, everything was looking great, but it was chilly.
it was
like it felt like
you could
January.
feel it coming in and just kind of biting at you a little bit. But yeah, I say we loved it. The family went in to Elixir to hang out. I was outside.
Yep, me too.
Walking around, and they popped out like for the parade, and then we stayed downtown and went out to eat.
Perfect.
It worked out great. It was our kids reached that age where the ideas of craft and activities
Sure.
aren't always their thing, but you talk about food or going to like play a game inside a restaurant.
for sure.
They're all about it. So
Yeah, 100%. My kids ended up in Lapeer because Aria was twirling in the Lapeer parade.
oh yeah.
So I was kind of kid free. I was kind of like, all right, I've done my job. I'm going to go back to my warm office
Warm
because
office
I'm
and
freezing
sit.
my tuchus off down here right now.
I will say it does feel kind of nice and toasty in here. I like this.
Oh yeah, we got the air popping or the heat
The
popping
heat
today.
popping, yes.
Because we need it. It's cold.
Oh,
I'm
it
dressed in my winter's best right now,
There you
just
go.
to try to stay warm.
It's all about the layers.
It is always about the layers. T-shirt, hoodie, vest. I'm feeling
I
pretty
like
pretty
it.
snazzy
I
today.
like it.
So we wanted to have a little bit of a conclusion episode.
Yes.
So the podcast in and of itself isn't going anywhere. We're going to be back in 2025. We've talked about some formatting changes. So we've got some exciting things that we're going to bring to the table.
We do. And when we started brainstorming about it, I was like, oh, this is good.
Right.
And we're on the same wavelength on a lot of things. And so I
Yeah.
think some of the same ideas were popping up. So pay
Well,
attention.
and
New
what-
stuff is coming forward.
And what we have, and we're later in this episode, we're going to talk a little bit about the metrics.
Yes.
The people that are listening, where they're listening from, things like that, which is really engaging for nerds like us.
It
We
really
like
is.
We like to see that information. But the long and the short of it is, both of us enjoy doing this podcast because we have such a passion for our local business community.
We do.
It's not always easy to find the time for people to sit down, and there's so much noise, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's, through marketing, through exterior outdoor advertising, there's so much noise right?
There is.
That it's hard to cut through. So for us, I think one of the reasons we like the Community Collective so much is it gives us the ability to bring somebody here into the studio and have a long form conversation with them and really let people see what their business and what they themselves are all about.
Right. No, and I think I like that too, is we had such a wide variety of guests,
Yeah.
that there's so many different topics. There a couple of things I can't tell you every time I think talk to someone, learn something new,
Oh, for sure.
or we never know where the conversation is going to go. We always
Right.
have a few kind of questions that we want to keep the conversation going, but a lot of times the guests will just bring up something that's new and leads into a new
Yeah.
conversation. And
Well, let
yeah,
me do this. Let's roll through the guests that we had on the podcast
oh
in
yes,
season 4, and
right.
then we can talk about maybe some of our favorite episodes and some of those takeaways. How's that sound?
That sounds perfect. I love
Okay.
it.
So first, to kick off the season, we had Kyle Robinson with Edward Jones on. Great one. So then we went into turn the pages, use books. We had 10 o'clock health and wellness, Davison Township Parks and Rec, Las Vegas Knights, the City of Davison DDA representative, Jessica Abraham.
Abraham, yep.
Yep. And then we had the Genesee County Clerk, Dominique Clebens. We had Alan Hobson with Light You Up, Rob Eunice with 1-800 Great Lakes Painting, DJ Spins with DJ Spins.
Yes.
Then we had Jason Ford with Cottage Inn. And lastly, doctors Vinny and Rachel with AE Dental. And I tell you what, one thing we were able to do this year, and we've gone through 4 seasons.
We have.
Basically, we've almost hit 2 years that we've been doing the pod,
It's
right?
like celebration, right?
It is truly,
is.
truly. You know, we're in the top 1% of podcasters because we have like more than 3 episodes. Believe it or not.
Wow. Yeah. You look at that, and and my thought is, we're just two guys that thought, let's
Yeah.
try this crazy idea, and we didn't know where we were gonna go or
Yeah.
how it would work. And I've been amazed in it when I talk at home
Mhm.
about it, because sometimes the kids will ask about like what we covered on the podcast.
Sure.
And Deanna listens sometimes, and it's one of those ones that like it's seen how much we've come, how far we've come,
Oh, absolutely.
and the things
Yeah.
we've learned all the time. And
Well, and understanding how to have conversations. And I think one of the best things that we did this year was, with the exception of maybe one of those interviews, everything was here in the studio.
it is.
And so being able to sit down and we know this, we can have a conversation on the phone, we can do interviews on Zoom, which we've done with success in
We
the
have.
past. But when you really look at it, our best conversations have been in this past season because you're sitting there. Our guest is sitting
Oh,
there.
yeah.
I'm sitting here, and we're able to have just a real in-depth conversation and have a flow to it, as
you gotta-
opposed to like, here's your question, here's your answer, here's your
Yes.
question, here's your answer.
Well, and you feed off of them, and you see those.
Yeah.
For me, I'm a visual person, so seeing your facial expressions,
Yeah.
seeing kind of like the excitement that the guests get, or you already get about a question or a topic, and you
Yep.
kind of, I feel like sometimes you're sitting there, you're waiting, like, ooh,
Right.
ooh, this is going to be exciting. I can't wait to say this,
Oh,
or
for
like,
sure.
share this, or ask them.
Well, and it's so it's so engaging for me because, again, like I was hitting on earlier, the long form aspect of it, of allowing them to talk about their business, to talk about the things that are important to them. And we aren't independent journalists. We're not gotcha journalists
No.
here. You know, we give all of our guests the questions prior to the interview. You know, if there's other things they want to talk about, please bring those up. We love that because we want this to be a platform where the community can come and engage with other business owners and
Yes.
people that live in their community as well.
Well, and looking at it too, you look at it like when we started, we covered financial topics and then ended up with dental hygiene. I think that shows you
And literally everything in the middle.
everything in the middle you could think of. And I think a few times we had people come to us like, oh, I'd be interested in being on
Yep.
this. And I think that's what I enjoy,
Yeah.
is that we know people are listening and they would love that opportunity. And
Mhm.
we were like, yes, let's work this out. And we're
Yeah.
I think we work around schedules, and
Yeah, of course.
we're both busy just like everyone else is. And
Yep.
I think that's the fun part, is like we make time to not only like, get to hang out with each other
Right.
and have some fun doing it,
Yeah.
but we're bringing a lot of good information and just kind of new knowledge.
Yeah.
I think to share with our community, and I think we're starting to see that as we look at the numbers
Yeah.
and kind of the
Yeah.
the information that like we're nerds about.
Yeah. So of the 12 guests that we had on this past year, and I know that it's tough for anybody to pick a favorite, and then we're not trying to play favorites, but what was the episode that really stuck out to you?
Oh man,
It's a tough one.
That is really tough, and I think there's so many areas that I've already experienced that I knew a little bit about, but I think the one that I really had no idea what went into it, and I have never spent tons of time
Yeah.
is with Las Vegas nights.
Yeah.
I've gotten together with buddies,
Yeah.
or and stuff like that, and play like basic cards. And
Sure.
if you make a mistake, you're good. But just learning like how it's a family business that they go and basically run a professional casino,
Right.
but in a modified way with like no money handling, but
Well, did you see my post?
I
I went and
you
dealt
went?
blackjack
Yes.
for them
Oh.
this past weekend.
that had to be kind of fun.
It was.
Yes.
It was a lot of fun. I mean, I always have a fun time wherever I go.
You do,
right?
Yes.
So I always have a good time. But at the end of the day, I was a little nervous, because I don't want to screw it up.
Right. You don't
You
do
know, I
that one
want to
guy that like
I want to represent Ryan's brand well, and I want to do the job. I don't want a bunch of people mad at me because all of a
Right.
sudden I did something wrong. Had a few minor mistakes throughout the evening, but you know what? We just had such a great time with it.
Yeah.
And it's a way for people to learn without the pressure because it's all fake money.
It really is. And I would say too now, this time of year, with Alan's business and the Christmas lights,
Yeah.
I'm driving around like, oh, I wonder if Alan did that.
Yeah.
Or
Right.
oh, Alan, I got to text Alan this
Well,
picture.
Alan did our Remax Edge studio offices here.
Which shows up amazing when you're driving down
my
M15 and you see it. So I think that's
you can
fun.
damn near see it from the expressway.
That's what
Beautiful.
we're going for. They had to turn on that Clark Gerswald
Yeah.
nuclear reactor. Like
Manford Heights, everybody's power goes whoa, every time we turn the lights on.
Well, and another one for me was, and actually it was good timing. So Dominique Clemens and I, we did the podcast here with you, but then a few days later, he and I were scheduled to go with do a joint kind of town hall version conversation dealing with elections with the Flint and Genesee County young professionals.
Oh, okay.
And so it was actually kind of perfect timing.
Yeah.
And so it's in my head, it's kind of fun to see how we knew we were going to interact with each other and talk to each other, but it kept the flow going.
Yeah.
And I love that too. So now the question is, what about you? I mean,
so for me, I have two, and they were the most recent ones. So Jason Ford with Cottage Inn, he is, he understands how to engage with the community.
He does.
Having not been from the area and kind of moving in and starting a business, he's really embraced that small town feel, helping out, whether it's sports teams, whether it's having local OHL games on the TV.
Right.
If you can't make it over to the Firebirds game. There's just so much stuff that he does there that I really respect his game. I really respect his game because he's playing long game. He's not looking for that immediate gratification of like, well, I did this for you. You need to do this for me. He understands that he's kind of like sowing seeds into the community, and he's going to reap those benefits in the future. And I absolutely love what they're doing over there at Cottage.
I do too.
I love it.
And actually, talking about him, I had a conversation with him just the other day.
Yeah.
He had some questions about some community events, and
Sure.
he had heard of them and wanted to know about them. And I think you're exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a guy that wants to keep finding more and more ways to get his
Yep.
business involved in so many areas.
Right. Without the expectation of anything in return.
No, he just,
and that is exactly how small communities are built.
Yes.
And I applaud his energy and his efforts with him and his staff to make that happen. I think it's great.
it is. And it's a fun atmosphere when you go there. Not only do you get good food, but it's a good atmosphere.
Oh, without a doubt.
I'll be honest, Charlie's football team went there like after one of our last games. So here's a table of what 14 or 9, 9 and 10-year-old boys sitting at a table and
just crushing pizza.
Just crushing pizza and soft drinks. Oh my gosh. They're like bragging about it all. And
I need another Mountain Dew.
bring
Make
it
it
over
a double.
here. Make it a double. And we called ahead, gave him a heads up. But
Sure.
I texted Jason. I was like, Jason, your team did a great job. And I was like, we had all the parents were there.
Yeah.
But I was like, your team really interacted with our boys.
Right.
And they had fun with them and joked around with them and,
of course.
and laughed with them. And of course, you get that age group of boys. Table manners.
Yeah.
In a group of them. Who knows?
Out the window.
Who knows what that is?
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
So
and the smell alone.
we'll leave that to the guests that were behind them.
Yeah, right.
and it was fun too because the Lions were playing when we were there too.
Oh,
and so I think the boys fed into some of the crowd, like the chants for Jared Goff. Like they were
that's
getting it
awesome.
going, and people joined them in the restaurant. And I think Jason's created an atmosphere that's just a fun place to be
Absolutely.
for all ages.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
And then my other one was Dr. Vinny and Dr. Rachel at AE Dental. That was just such a fun and engaging conversation. You know, they're a young married couple, 2 young kids, starting a business, getting their feet underneath of them.
Yeah.
And man, I have such a love for the entrepreneurial spirit. You know, people that are going out there and kind of laying it all on the line. You know, we're going to do this. And I respect the hell out of it. And I'm so happy for them that their business is flourishing.
Yes.
And I love their engagement with us as well. They were so much fun at Quarter Mania this past year.
Their table's always a blast.
I'm looking forward to them having another couple of tables because I'm hosting Quarter Mania this year.
Oh.
So as the host for it, I need that good energy.
You need to feed off some people, right?
I need those vibes.
Okay.
You know, we can't sit there like we're at a concerto. We gotta be in it like we're at a wrestling.
You know, maybe, you know, Vinny mentioned that they visit some local schools as the Tooth Fairy and a giant tooth.
There you go.
So I think we got to talk to them about maybe this is we'll just tell them it's a costume event.
Well, maybe we can get them to run in the Flip Flop 5K dressed like the Tooth Fairy.
That would be amazing.
That would be epic.
And then pass out a few toothbrushes.
Yeah, of course.
The people, right? Hey. As they're eating whatever food truck we have there.
Dental health is wealth, baby.
Yes.
You gotta have a good smile, straight teeth.
Here's a toothbrush,
cavities.
Eat a muffin.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right. Sugar-free gum only.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Vinny, for confirming.
But they are such a, I think, and they're an example of individuals that they're from this general, I think Vinny's from the general area.
Sure.
Growing up, but they went away to school and then they chose to come here and they bought their business from a previous person, but they chose that.
You're right.
And then I think they've moved here. And I think they're really engaging in the community, and I've noticed too, like when they talked about it, they volunteered their time at the Dort Event Center did like a free dental clinic for individuals and had offices from all over,
which is awesome.
And it's like they did it on their day off, like when their office is closed. Their team all decided we're going to go do this.
Yep.
And that's what I mean,
it's huge, and that's just another representation of the many that we have of these business owners and operators, managers, politicians, whomever, giving back to the community. It's so important. You live here, you work here, you play here. We need to engage with that community.
Right. It is.
It's so great to see.
And it does make it fun to see that too. I think on the chamber side of things,
right,
we see it from you and I in a podcast and talking to them, but we also see it from the chamber side. And I think it's great to see these businesses that are growing and looking to become involved. And we want to be a resource to them, but then there are also a lot of resources for us when we talk to them. They're like, hey, we're doing this event, or we heard about this and we'd love for you to be involved. And I think that's
a great point. One thing that does add is it lends a little bit of credibility when we're asked, you know, as the president, you're now on the board, the previous executive director, you know, when we're asked like, hey, who would you recommend for this? Who should I talk to? Who do I need to call?
Yeah.
You know, for me personally, especially after having all of these conversations, it just adds a little bit of confidence in me being able to make those recommendations.
Yes.
Like I'm not just giving you the recommendation. I thoroughly endorse this person that I'm going to send you to.
Right.
And I think that's super important. It's huge.
And I love to see the social media engagement too. When we post our episodes, the people that are like, oh, I was looking for someone like this, or I didn't know that, or we love their pizza, or like, all that engagement. And a lot of times that's what our hope is that we're just bringing attention to them and showing them that these businesses are part of our community, or these individuals are organizing events that we talk to. And I think that is, the fun part, or they learn stuff that they never would have known about that person.
And don't get me wrong, we know these are long form podcasts, you know, and more so as we've been doing them in studio, it gives us so much more of an opportunity to have that conversation. You know, we know some of our episodes are upwards of an hour.
Right.
But we're okay with that because there's such valuable information in there. You're learning so much about the people that are in these businesses day in and day out. And I think that's important.
Yeah. And I think too, like I know you and I have had the opportunity to visit them sometimes. We might be, like, be honest, Vinny and Rachel are AE Dental is where we go as a family.
Right.
But it's those other things that you sometimes get to go visit them and talk to them as well beforehand when we're trying to see if they're interested in the podcast or they had questions about it. And
absolutely,
I think that's the great part too, is not only are they coming in here, but we're going to their businesses and talking to them.
Right. All right. Let's jump into some metrics. And then after we do some of the metrics, what we'll do is we'll discuss kind of what some of our plans are for 2025 as we do some more fun and engaging stuff. So, all right, looking here at the metrics. So, and this is, like, we're not on par with the Joe Rogan podcast.
No,
we're not, we're not on par with Caller Daddy or with All In, any of those. And we understand that.
We know that.
But we're such a hyper local and focused podcast that I'm super proud of what we've been able to do. And you know what? If it's nothing more than just for the two of us, we have a damn good time getting together.
Oh, we do. It's fun. And I think that's what I enjoy.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So over the past 2 years, we've had over 1,700 downloads. We've had over 5,000 listens. And this is the part that blew me away.
Yes.
We had double and triple digit listeners in the United States, Germany, Canada, the United Kingdom, Singapore, and Ireland. We've gone international, baby.
International. Look at that's when we know we've made it, right? It's and I when I was looking at this too, I'm sitting there thinking, wow, somehow we touched on a topic that someone wants to learn about. Yeah. And now we just need them to come visit here to US and visit one of these businesses we talked about, right?
It would be so wild. It would be so wild. But you know what? It shows how much people can engage with what I would consider an authentic conversation.
Oh yeah.
These are just a couple of guys sitting around with some business owners and operators, just talking about their business and learning about what it is that they do. And I personally,
fun with it.
And this is why it's so easy for us to do this podcast, is because we're interested in that.
We are.
Yeah. It's not just, oh God, I got to read these questions. And when are they showing up? And what about this? We actually, pardon my French, but we give a shit.
Right.
And we're curious. We want to hear what they have to say.
And we're not like the Beyonce, I feel like the Ricky Bobby moment. Like, I don't know what to do with my hands here. Like, I just very monotone. But it is. I think we've grown from just like you and I doing it with some guests through Zoom.
Yeah.
And now you see people from other countries are starting to kind of click in and listen.
Pretty wild.
It kind of is.
It's pretty wild to say the least. So, and we've also, in total, 82 episodes.
82. We're coming up on a big milestone.
Oh my gosh.
This next year, I think.
And I love doing the podcasting. I've learned how to do the technology side of things. I've learned how to do the editing side of things. You've been an absolute rock star when it comes to locking down interviews and bringing guests on, and how do we develop questions? How do we develop questions that aren't just single sentence answers? We want to engage with you. We want this to be very conversational. So it's pretty wild to see where we've come from.
Right.
And in 2 years, who knows? We're going to look back on these episodes and be like, oh, what a bunch of amateurs.
What were we thinking there?
But that's the growth.
I think it
that's
is.
why I appreciate so much the people that are taking this journey with us.
They are. And I think that's what it is. We're not by ourselves.
Right.
It's not only our listeners and people downloading our episodes but it's also the people who are coming in here and talking to us, engaging us, or even asking us about it.
Oh, it's fantastic.
It is.
It's fantastic. And the funny thing is, maybe we don't get as much engagement as you and I would like, whether it's comments, whether it's shares, whatever else. But we're out there.
We are.
Everybody knows.
These numbers are showing that people, they might not comment and stuff like that, but they're listening to it. And I think that's the fun part.
I think that's the great part, because at the end of the day, it's not about us.
No.
It's about our guests.
It really is.
And that's who we're truly focused on, and that's who we want to showcase when they come in and they do this.
Yeah, I think just one, we have fun with it. And for anyone that's curious that may be like tuning in for the first time.
Sure.
This is just where Johnny and I started as executive director of the chamber.
Yep.
And we were just kind of shooting together ideas of how do we engage our members? How do we get the community to know that we care, that we want to be involved in? We kind of popped up the idea of like, let's do a podcast.
Yeah.
And let's see.
And I think the ultimate goal was to give a platform for the business owners, because it's not always easy. We're not locked into anything specifically.
No.
So we can talk to anyone and everyone and allow them a platform to basically say, hey, here's what I have going on. Here's what I want to talk about. Right. And I think that's fantastic.
It is. And I think we've gotten good feedback from them of how much fun they have with it. And sometimes I get to where they'll shoot a text, "Hey, when's my podcast go live?" And like they get excited about it. I think that makes it why I want to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Is because you get those guests that are excited to know when they can listen to themselves. They're like, they're like, "Oh, did I sound okay?" And they're like, "You did a great job, no matter what."
As a former business owner and proprietor, it's difficult sometimes to be able to come up with time to make your own content or have your own posts.
Oh, yes.
So if we can offer that help out and say, listen, come on our podcast, we'll do all the editing, we'll do all the production. Basically, we're going to give you a link that you can share to your to your fans. That's great.
We
it alleviates some of that stress as well. So yeah, come spend an hour with us and we'll give you something that you can put out to your people.
Yeah. And our hope is too, this is also a chance to, I think, know what they want to be involved in more, or if they have a big event going on, that we can share it too. And we've gotten some breaking news on our podcast, and
we're looking forward to some more breaking news after the first of the year. It's going to be a fun one.
Oh, it is. I think we're going to have a lot of fun going forward. I think we've learned so much.
Yep.
And that's what, when I go home and I'll talk to Deanna and I'm like, guess what Johnny and I did today?
Right.
Sometimes she wants to know, sometimes she doesn't want to know. I was like, don't worry.
That's valid.
Like, we were good.
Good on you, Deanna.
Yeah, good on you. She knows. Yeah. The amount of time that we spend together between chamber and podcasts and just sometimes getting together for coffee or something like that. And I think that is where our team work really has flowed well.
Yeah.
Is we have a good dynamic with each other. We can just have conversations even when we're not recording ourselves.
Exactly.
Are you actually recording this? That's my question.
Yeah.
You just want to have a conversation right now.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So as we look towards 2025, I think we've been trying to do weekly episodes. That has posed a few challenges because you have a very busy schedule, as do I. So I think we're gonna pull back a little bit on the frequency, but that's going to allow us to bring even more value.
Yes.
So we're looking at 2, possibly 3 episodes a month. One or two of those with guests, and then one of those with just you and I.
Right.
Where maybe we do a little community collective after dark.
I like it.
We talk about some of the things going on in the community pages because they are always
entertaining,
rife with things to discuss.
I feel like I'm always entertained, and we actually
entertained is a good way of putting it.
I feel I know you get them too. We have people that will text us.
Yeah.
When there's like a farm animal that gets out, because it was happening.
Shout out to Tim and Stacy. I've gotten messages from both of you.
Tim
Appreciate
and
that.
Are perfect. There are other eyes in the community to help us out, but it's one of those things that it's fun. I think we see it, and then it's just a different way to engage with people.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
of course.
And I think this also our new format is gonna hopefully allow people to give us suggestions and ideas of what they hopefully want us to talk about or cover too.
Right. Well, and
appropriately.
Yes. In spite of our ugly mugs.
Oh, yes.
Our intention for 2025 is to do video with every episode. So you guys can watch us on Facebook. You'll be able to watch us on YouTube, on Instagram.
Yes.
We might make a TikTok channel if there's any assumption that it's not going away. But regardless of that, we want to bring some higher quality to you guys, to the listeners. But also keeping a focus on high level content, high level guests, high level discussions about different things going on in our locales. Whether maybe we might move a little bit outside of Davison. We might look at things in Lapeer County, things in total in Genesee County. There's a lot of great stuff going on.
There's a lot of things that I think we haven't had a chance to touch on.
Yeah.
And I'm excited too. If by discovering kind of these new ideas and mediums that we're going to hopefully try man, I would love to see not only our residential listeners increase, but I would love to add a few more countries.
Yeah.
I think that'd be amazing. I think that's an avenue to do it.
I think it'd be fantastic.
Oh my gosh. Just have some fun. Like, we got a new listener from this place.
Right. And so as we conclude kind of our 2025 preview, we look at that, we're going to offer some advertising opportunities. Doing the podcast, the production, the software, the hardware, none of that's free. And as much as if I had some magical benefactor that showed up and gave me all my studio stuff for free, I would love that.
Yes.
But it's not. There are inherent costs to doing this. So the podcast isn't going anywhere.
No.
But what we're going to offer is an opportunity for those local businesses that want to maybe have a little snippet that runs along the bottom of the video podcast.
Yes.
And we can offer that. A logo watermark, different shout outs. You want to have a commercial in the middle of the episode. we're happy to do that. So we're going to have some opportunities there as well.
And I think a great way, and that's what our hope is too. There's going to be individuals that listen to the podcast or maybe don't have the opportunity to be on it, but still want to be part of it, which we are excited about because we want as many businesses or individuals involved. And I love the sponsorship opportunities that are going to come forward. And I'm looking forward to hopefully getting a few of them.
And they will be very cost effective by comparison.
Yes.
You know, and with over 5,000 listens and stuff like that, the beauty of it is you're going to be able to advertise to people in your community that could legitimately become clients
and
or engage with your product or service, whatever that is. So for me, I think there's a lot of value there as well.
Well, and I think too that when we do get that information out there, you can contact Johnny or I, and we will answer questions and walk you through how it would work, and we'll have a lot of options.
100%.
And we understand we're very frugal individuals, so we understand.
You can just call it like it is. I'm cheap.
You're cheap.
I'm super cheap.
I'm sitting there looking at, do I want to buy this? Yes.
That's why I don't wear shoes, because flip-flops are such a cheaper shoe option.
The shoe option, right?
Of course.
But like we want options for everybody. And I think that's what we're going for. So, but it makes it fun too, because it engages our listeners in a different way.
Yep. Yeah. 100%. And it's going to allow us to do that much more engaging podcast, you know, and we may come to a point where we're going to start doing remote podcasts at these businesses or at specific events where we can have a really great time with that. The sky's the limit. We want to have a lot of fun with it. And again, our ultimate goal is to showcase what's going on in this amazing community that we call home.
We do. I love it. And I always like to say, this is a place where I want to raise my family and work here and everything. And I think if you look at the community, it's growing with, I think, resident involvement.
Yes.
And then new homes starting to slowly pop up, and it's a few new businesses coming in. Yeah. I think that's exciting. And I think
the growth in our area, both in the city and the township, Richfield Township, is fantastic to see.
It is.
It's so fantastic.
And then I'm seeing it from a new avenue where interaction happens at all levels.
Yep.
And I love that too.
Yeah, you can't go wrong. So I just want to say, first and foremost, thank you to you for being a great partner in crime when it comes to this podcast. I'm excited as we close out 2024 and we look to 2025. We're going to have some fun, man. We're going to have a really good time.
Well, I love hanging out with you.
Yeah.
I love that you push our mediums and our technology areas and getting better. And it's making me learn.
Right.
Whether, I'm younger and hopefully learning technology, but I'm going to reach an age at some point when I'm like, oh, those darn kids and stuff like that. But I think that's the fun part, is when we work together, I just enjoy this.
Yeah. And there's so much value in having these conversations, and being able to connect with other business owners that, I mean, realistically, over these 82 episodes, I wouldn't have connected with probably the majority of these people outside of maybe seeing them at a chamber lunch.
Right.
So for me, I appreciate your ability to be able to get these guests brought into the pod, and so that I can sit down and I can learn about them and I can engage with them as well. So it's been invaluable.
Yeah. It's a good team.
It's a good team for sure.
It.
So to the Davison community, we appreciate the support. We love you guys. We hope you love our local business community and you support them this holiday season. And we're looking forward to an amazing 2025.
Oh, yeah. 2025 is going to be amazing. I'm excited about kind of the new updates and the growth of this. But also, I hope everyone has a Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Get out there. I always like to say it. Shop local, support local.
100%.
But there's actually, if you check out the Chamber Facebook page, there's a good deal going on right now where you can be entered in. Shop at I think 3 local businesses and show the receipts and have a chance to win a gift card. But I love that.
To your business of choice.
Yeah, your business of choice. Yes.
As long as they're a chamber member, of course.
But it's one of those things that, like, I'm excited on that part, and it's a really focus on that. But I just want to say, hey, Johnny, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to
you,
my
have lots
friend.
of fun with your family.
Oh, of course. That stupid elf.
Oh, no.
If you're friends with me on my personal Facebook page, it's a brutal go of it. We've got our first elf this year, and it's
Well, I will say you've
unbelievable.
you've had an elf for about a year. It's called the Johnny Elf.
It is, yeah.
It's right up here. It hasn't moved in about a year.
No. I brought my Johnny elf into the office, slapped it on my desk, and that was the end.
Looks
of it.
just like you
Yeah,
from the chamber last year, but
we should have done that.
Oh, that'd been great.
What was I thinking? So, well, that's all I have for this week's episode, as we close out 2024, but we will be back in 2025 and we are going to have a ton of fun. It's going to be some great guests,
lots of new stuff, new guests,
some great opportunities, and we're going to have a hell of a good time with it. I can promise you that.
Looking forward to engagement with everybody.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, Travis, have yourself a Merry Christmas, my friend. We'll talk to you soon.
Merry Christmas, Johnny.
All right, buddy. Bye-bye.